John Bowden, Shannon Edwards, and wow, news today. Aerosmith. This is thanks to our friends at Ultimate Classic Rock. They just posted this, so we were just watching a Harry Connick Jr. movie, taking a break on a Friday afternoon, a really corny movie. What's it called? Falling something. Anyway, and this just came up. Aerosmith retires from the road and cancels their farewell tour, and they released a statement. Before Shannon reads the statement, this is crazy. From 1970, and releasing their first album. I was like 13 years old when the self-titled Aerosmith album came out, and anyone who grew up, who watches this channel, knows that at that point we were hungry for music. We come out of the 60s, we got all these great bands in the early 70s, and it was a crazy period. Anyway, circles around Steven Tyler's voice, but also the guys aren't getting any younger. Shannon, you can read their statement.
So yes, they talked about rescheduling dates for their Peace Out farewell tour. But as they broke out the news today, it was 1970 when a spark of inspiration became Aerosmith. Thanks to you, our Blue Army, that spark caught flame and has been burning for over 5 decades. Yeah. Some of you have been with us since the beginning, and all of you are the reason we made rock and roll history. It has been the honor of our lives to have our music become part of yours. In every club, on every massive tour, and at moments grand and private, you've given us a place in the soundtrack of your lives. Then, of course, they addressed Steven Tyler's vocal injury, right? Yeah. We've always wanted to blow your mind when performing. As you know, Steven's voice is an instrument like no other. He has spent months tirelessly working on getting his voice to where it was before his injury. We've seen him struggling despite having the best medical team by his side. Sadly, it is clear that a full recovery from his vocal injury is not possible. We have made a heartbreaking and difficult but necessary decision as a band of brothers to retire from the touring stage. We are grateful beyond words for everyone who is pumped to get on the road with us one last time. They concluded as well, grateful to have our expert crew, our incredible team, and the thousands of talented people who've made our historic runs possible. A final thank you to you, the best fans on planet Earth. Play our music loud, now and always, dream on. You've made our dreams come true.
Again, I want to thank the folks because I'm on I have the app for Ultimate Classic Rock, and if you like classic rock, get their app because you'll get news right immediately. And I wasn't even thinking about breaking news in the beginning. I was just thinking about the fact that I'm interested in classic rock, and we've got some people who just
Telman Drone Man Murphy said, "Say what?"
Yeah.
Jimmy KX, hey John and Shannon, hi Jimmy.
1973, I was 13 years old, and a double platinum album, their self-titled album came out. They followed that up with Get Your Wings, which a lot of folks love, from 1974. Toys in the Attic, which a lot of people consider their best album. To me, Rocks was their best album, which came out the following year. Toys in the Attic in 75. Rocks in 76. That was one of my big albums that I listened to in 77. Draw the Line came out in the latter part of 77. I remember I got it from the Columbia Record Club. I'll never forget it. I really liked the album a lot. Night in the Ruts, Joe Perry had left. It was an album that I really loved, and all my friends hated it because he was gone, but I enjoyed it. And then Rockin' a Hard Place did not do very well. They were not doing too well at the time, and then they left, came back. Done with Mirrors, number 36 on the charts, but then it got big. Permanent Vacation peaked at number 11. Pump, which was a huge album. I remember I used to go to concerts. Remember, you used to go to concerts, and they would always play Pump. So many people had told me that. Ever notice you go to a concert and you're waiting around, and they're playing Pump? Released in 89, reached number 5 on the charts, and then Get a Grip, number 1 for Aerosmith. 9 Lives, number 1. Just Push Play, number 2. Honkin' on Bobo. I never knew that album. Number 5. And Music from Another Dimension, another number 5 song. Some of their biggest tunes, like, they're not going away necessarily. Will they record new music? They're probably going to go out and say, we will record new music. But just some of their Dream On, 1973, from that first album. Crazy. Even though in the U.S. it only reached number 59, in retrospect, like since then, it's become such a big song for the band. Same Old Song and Dance. We used to play that on our Rock History Music internet station. Sweet Emotion, of course. So you look at this, number 36 on the charts, and ends up being one of the biggest songs in rock and roll history as far as classic rock. Last Child from Rocks. Love that song. Number 21. They reissued Dream On at that point. It reached number 6. Walk This Way, of course, from Toys in the Attic, re-released. Man, they had a lot of great songs. And then, of course, in the 80s, it just went nuts. Hold on. Dude Looks Like a Lady. Here we go. Dude Looks Like Hangman Jury, Angel, Ragdoll. Like, so many great songs, but we got some comments.
James chimes in, wow, I was afraid this might happen and they wouldn't be able to have a final tour. Jimmy says, over 50 years, Aerosmith has nothing to prove. Rock and roll legends.
Yeah, well said. And when it comes to Aerosmith, you know, they stopped wowing me a long time ago, but I would always say I would go see Aerosmith. Never had a chance to see them. I think I had a chance to see them, but for whatever reason, I never went. Or I was on the radio back then when I went on the radio at night. It was a little difficult. You just have to press it twice. You're on. Hold on.
Sorry.
I'll go. That's okay.
Just
go like that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, it just rejigs itself. Mm-hmm. Shannon's on the iPad and she's reading the comments. And in a few minutes, we'll read them again, just for anyone who's joining us. But it's one of those, melancholy kind of like points in the sand sort of moments for anyone who grew up with Aerosmith, and almost everyone, whether you're from the 80s Aerosmith, the comeback Aerosmith, but actually sold more. We were just talking yesterday about the greatest comeback, in history of music. When you go Aerosmith, not only are they not making hits anymore, but they're washed up. Like, they're tired. Their time has come. How often do you have that string of hits, and then you come back with Dude Looks Like a Lady? I mean, and all those others, Ragdoll, all those. And then they had the Diane Warren song from what's it called? What's the name of that song? That I'll have it here. What's their ballad? It was another big hit. How come I can't? What's the one from Pearl Harbor? I really dislike that song.
I can't remember the name of that one.
Someone's going to tell us. What's the song? It's not really an Aerosmith song, but Aerosmith did it from, and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah. That was different, but I never considered that like an Aerosmith song.
So after this came out, in your personal opinion, are you really surprised that maybe they decided to pull back for good?
Well, who said it on here? Someone had said it on here. They kind of expected that, because you get to a point, you get to a certain point, and there's what happened today is what I thought would happen after 1979, after Joe Perry left. That's what happened today. I thought would happen back then. They'd be washed up. Back then, we didn't think of old bands. We used to think they'd go to the graveyard of rock and roll, whatever that meant to you. And I'll just put this down a little bit. And we never really thought of comebacks, like Elton John and the Rolling Stones and all these other bands became these huge touring bands based on their classic rock songs. And then all of a sudden that became a thing. And there was an urgency to that, because we all started thinking, we're going to lose these guys. Wait a minute, we're losing classic rock. Classic rock is playing 90s stuff? What's going on?
Jimmy said, saw them on Pumpin' 9 Lives tours. Great concerts. Brian Daniel says, first 4 albums are all I need. The later sounded way too commercial. Great live act, though.
The later stuff, though, was in the hair band era, where there was bombastic, larger-than-life songs that played on the radio very well. And Aerosmith, at least a recharged Aerosmith, fits so well into that socket, that vein, that lane, or whatever mother statement you want to put in there. So when you look back at it in retrospect, you go, of course they did well. First of all, they got clean, right? And they did what they had to do with great producers, of course. But they climbed back on the mountain, and they were ready for it. It's almost like they had trained themselves to be that band when they came back. It was pretty special. Everyone was happy for them for the most part.
Jimmy says first 4 albums cemented them as legends.
Yeah. when I got Rocks was the first one. I had the other ones on cassette, but do you remember when you grew up in the 70s? It didn't count if you had it on cassette, if you recorded it from somebody else. We used to do that. Well, I have it on cassette, but I haven't bought the album. And then, so the first album I actually bought was Rocks, then Draw the Line, like I said a while ago, from the Columbia Record Club. You want to read the quotes again? For anybody who's just joined us, there's quotes from the band, and they basically talk about the reason for them. And I want to point out again, Ultimate Classic Rock has used a lot of our stuff throughout, and a lot of other sites have, and we always appreciate that. They always put the official video that we put out, and then they quote us. Ultimate Classic Rock's always done that. Who's the gentleman who wrote the article?
Brian Rowley.
Anyway, thanks, Brian, for getting it out really quickly. And Shannon's just going to read you some quotes from what the band has released today, because just broke.
It was 1970 when a spark of inspiration became Aerosmith. Thanks to you, our Blue Army, that spark caught flame and has been burning for over 5 decades. Some of you have been with us since the beginning, and all of you are the reason we made rock and roll history. It has been the honor of our lives to have our music become part of yours in every club, on every massive tour, and at moments grand and private. You've given us a place in the soundtrack of your lives. We've always wanted to blow your mind when performing. As you know, Stephen's voice is an instrument like no other. He has spent months tirelessly working on getting his voice to where it was before the injury. We've seen him struggling despite having the best medical team by his side. Sadly, it is clear that a full recovery from his vocal injury is not possible. We have made a heartbreaking and difficult but necessary decision as a band of brothers to retire from the touring stage. We are grateful beyond words for everyone who was pumped to get on the road with us one last time. Grateful to our expert crew, our incredible team, and the thousands of talented people who've made our historic run possible. A final thank you to you, the best fans on planet Earth. Play our music loud, now and always. Dream on. You've made our dreams come true.
Now remember, it doesn't mean they're not going to record again, because there's usually...
I have a feeling they probably will.
Well, there's cachet now. All of a sudden, you get to that stage, people are going to mourn the fact, I was going to see them, or I was hoping to see them, and this was a farewell tour, remember. But at one point, you got to say, as they say down south, that dog won't hunt. It's not going to happen. He can't do it. And they pointed out it's his voice. Remember when he was we watch American Idol. It's the last show that I watched for singing competitions or for competitions in general. I couldn't watch the last few seasons because Katy Perry drove me nuts. And Carrie Underwood seems like she's going to be the judge now. Has that been finalized? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
It looks like it's going to happen. But so Carrie Underwood's nice comeback story. Not comeback, like she needs a comeback, but she's coming back to the show. When Steven Tyler was a judge on American Idol, I remember being surprised that he wasn't harder on the contestants. I remember going, I don't know why, Toxic Twins stuff, I guess. I expected him to suffer no fools, but he was a real soft judge, I thought. A little too soft. But he was a likable guy as a judge. He was really a likable kind of personality. But this is an end of an era, and we're going to hear a lot more of this sort of stuff. I'm glad we're not announcing a death, right? For Steven Tyler or Joe Perry or any of the other guys. I'm happy they're still here. Let's celebrate that. The fact that they're still around. They've survived this. They shouldn't have survived it.
Telemann Drone Man Murphy says digital technology, high quality recording, video, etc. has made the longevity of bands to extend longer and be better chronicled. It makes it easier to follow careers from the beginning till the end. That's so true.
That's incredibly true. I've been listening to on Spotify, and I wish Spotify would support their artists more. But for me, I've gone back and listened to albums that I thought, why didn't I listen to the first Mr. album? I used to love Mr. But I, for whatever reason, got involved in another thing. And I went back and listened to all the Yes albums, every single one of the Chicago albums, and I realized I've never heard Chicago 3 outside of the radio songs. Chicago 3! So I went, wow, I can't believe I just got busy. And I forgot about listening to Chicago 3. Then I knew there was a lot of newer Chicago songs that I hadn't listened to. I went through the entire catalog and made a playlist, I think, of 275 songs. Everything Chicago's released except live albums, because I'm not a big live albums guy usually, unless it's Frampton Comes Alive. But Yeah. You got any more?
Brian Daniels says, please don't record another album. Let it be. Stay where it is.
There's another school of thought. There's nothing wrong with thinking that either. The fact that of going, leave. A lot of people didn't want the Beatles to ever get back together for that reason. That's the ultimate example of leave well enough alone. After December 8th, 1980, that was impossible, with the exception of a few things that like rough things that John did, Freeze a Bird and stuff like that. But there is that I hear what you're saying. I hear of going, but I get a feeling they'll record again because there's going to be a longing for it because there's that loss. People want more. They don't want to lose Aerosmith. Not every band's going to go via AI. Now, the other day we were talking about, what's the band we were doing the other day? Pink Floyd, possibly doing, Nick Mason saying that Pink Floyd via AI might be able to record something that would have followed suit after The Wall, for instance, or, well, the Final Cut, but The Wall, really. And what they would have sounded like. Oh, there's our beautiful daughter. Hi, Danica.
Hi, Danica. You go ahead.
Go watch your videos. She's autistic. And at 4 o'clock, which is... Oh, she waited till 4 or 5.
She did. It's time for that. Ronnie Parker chimes in. The video Ragdoll was shot in Johnson City, Tennessee, Freedom Hall in my town.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
I remember that video. There was... I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is the song we were talking about. It says it's 5 times platinum as a single. That's insane. From the Armageddon soundtrack. But isn't it interesting how... Even though that's their biggest song, but that's just one of those, like a movie star doing a blockbuster, then going and doing a whole bunch of independent films to redeem himself, him or her. I found that, listen, they weren't going to say no to that, and it helped the movie, it helped them, but I never considered that song what I liked in Aerosmith. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So there you go. So that's it. Do we have any more?
I think we're pretty good here.
Thank you for everyone who's coming on. We had a lot of problems with this. We're doing this with Ecamm Live. For anyone who knows Ecamm, they're one of the greatest companies. If you have a Mac to do this with, I think now that they have Zoom on Ecamm, you can use a PC with it. I think that's why they did it. I don't know. We haven't done a lot because we were freezing like crazy when we were doing it.
Were we ever?
And we were doing a lot of videos, like top 10s of this, top 10s of that. And we decided not to, but YouTube kept telling us, you have to do live videos if you want to make a half-decent living on YouTube. So we're going to start doing this more, and everyone's asking us to do Friday Night Live again. We'll probably do it around maybe this time when she gets on her videos.
Makes it so much easier.
4 o'clock.
Or even at 5 o'clock would be fine, too.
Yeah. So you guys tell us in the notes what time would work for you on Friday night, because we're going to bring Friday Night Live back where we'll be on live. And when news breaks, we'll come on more often. But Aerosmith, we tip our hats to you.
Do we ever?
And a great run live, and they did the right thing, right? So keep commenting, and remember, if you want to donate to the channel, there's a PayPal link in the description. You can join our Patreon. You'll get early access to all our videos. You can make it, like I said, make a donation. Patreon, you can buy a t-shirt. Not this one. We are Canadians. Isn't that weird? Like 85% of our audience is in the US. And like 3% of our audience are in Canada. That's just the way it goes. And then it's Europe after that. Anyway, thanks. John Bowden, Shannon Edwards.
Thanks.
Take good care of yourselves. Have a nice weekend, everybody.